Welcome to Copytraders Club, where you can learn how to make more money copy trading. I am Gavin Macaulay, my name and username on eToro. Today I discuss a few key issues with the podcast, check my portfolio performance, and ponder a major challenge I'm experiencing as a copy trader. Here we go. Episode 11, and today I question whether I'm going to keep finding copy traders to talk to, and from potential famine to feast, I muse on the tricky issue of the temptation to add PIs. As usual, I divide today's show into 3 parts. Part 1, copy traders. Do you copy? Part 2, portfolio update. And Part 3, Fluttering PI lashes. So part 1. Copy traders, do you copy? One of my main aims for Copytraders Club is to lure copy traders out of the shadows to share their experiences and lessons learned, so that we can learn from them. I'm having a few conversations with copy traders so far, and they've been very enjoyable and very instructive. However, the initial pool of copy traders from which they come consists of copy traders who also have a YouTube channel. That is how I am finding them. I am a little concerned that the flow of copy trader conversations might dry up when I have exhausted this stream. Will I be able to find regular copy traders who are just doing their thing with no added fanfare or pizzazz to come forward for a chat? It's fair to say my email, Twitter and Instagram accounts have not been inundated with low-profile copy traders keen to visit the clubhouse for themselves. I have now built it, but will they come? Could it be you, dear listener? Have you been copy trading for a reasonable length of time and feel you've picked up some good practices along the way? Then I'm officially inviting you to give me a shout. I don't want only all the big names of eToro. I want the regular Joes. Of course, by Joes I mean both the male Joe and the female Joe. Indeed, Joes of all the various genders and the gender non-binary, like myself. I have also added a facility where, at the click of your mouse, you can leave me a voice message. Link in the show notes. So if you have any questions about appearing as a guest, just let me know. As I mentioned elsewhere, there's no need to make your profile public for the world to see. Just for me to check for 5 minutes to verify length of time, that you do copy trade, that your results are decent, etc. I do not think this voicemail facility would allow me to play any recorded clips on the podcast. That would be a good feature. But as with everything in podcasting, you're initially told everything is free, only to discover that merely the bog standard versions of everything are free. If you want any semblance of quality, you need to pay. Such is the nature of the capitalistic structure from which we are seeking to benefit. Coming up in part 2, portfolio update. Part 2, portfolio update. So I'm sticking to the plan of my 4 PIs. We're now in mid-April, and my stat so far for April is 3.17 in the green, which is great. I'll take all of that you got. As for how my individual PIs are doing, let's have a look. Samosa King is in the green 3.83. Robert Merck is in the green 2.11. EliteVol is in the green 3.58. And Tradebetter has just lipped into the green today. he's in the green by 0.23. So all PIs in the green so far this month. If you're a bat-eared listener, you will have noticed on the previous episode that Marco, EliteVol, quoted a $200 minimum copy amount from his bio and pin post. That has, of course, since been updated to the current $500. Another interesting thing that Marco mentioned is that when looking at the risk score, it is the maximum risk score that is way more important than the average risk score. What didn't make the edit is that we discussed how that is the nature of risk. How risky a cliff top is to walk along isn't measured by its average distance to the cliff edge. Far more important is the one stretch of the path where it's right on the precipice, and indeed partially subsiding into the sheer drop below. That is the riskiest part, and that should determine the risk score displayed at the start of the path. Average risk isn't so important to the preservation of life and/or capital. Max risk is. So that was a good point that came out of my conversation with Marco. Tradebetter, as I said, has just lipped into the green, which is a bit of a relief because I've been in the red with him pretty much the whole time since the end of November. I'm still in the red with him, but by very little. As I look at it now, it's 0.39%. So I'm not loads down, but it's now been 4.5 months. So hopefully he will soon begin to live up to his name. Otherwise, he is likely to be the first in the house up for eviction. As you may know, I place a lot of value on YouTube videos from PIs. My two that do them feel to me like they're always close by, ready with a word in my ear about individual moves they've made or updates on our portfolio. I hope EliteVol, Marco Willikins, does start doing them since he's a very likeable and capable guy. He comes across well and would do on video, and I think he deserves a lot more copiers than he has. What was very revealing about my chat with him was that he was able to fully explain his bad January and the successful adjustments he made to his approach, which allowed for a strong February and an even stronger March. And he's now doing well again in April. So I'm much more informed about him than I was, and much more positive about our future together. Tradebetter also doesn't do YouTube videos, and I don't have the benefit of a conversation episode with him to better understand him as a person, and to hear details regarding his underperformance since I joined, and why indeed the future should be brighter. So I am unable to say more, but hope springs eternal. Coming up in part 3, Fluttering PI lashes. Hey, hope you're enjoying today's show. I'm sure you've subscribed already. If you're a successful copy trader, happy to share what you've learned. There's no need to have a public profile. Please get in touch. Otherwise, listener, the bigger the club, the better for you. So tell people on eToro about this show. Ask your PIs to come on. That way you will get to know them better. We build this club together. Part 3, Fluttering PI lashes. As I've mentioned many times on the show, I didn't come to eToro and then start looking for PIs to copy. I came because of one PI, and then built out a small team of PIs around him, planning to stick to them for the first 12 months as I go through a year of learning what this copy trading thing is all about. I figure 12 months is enough time for even one as feeble-minded as I to work out what is going on and whether my 4 guys are how I wish to proceed. I may want to add more. I may want to replace PIs. I doubt I would want to reduce the number. But I certainly felt it would be easy to give them 12 months and not be distracted by the advances of any other PIs. However, because I'm doing this podcast, I'm exposing myself, not like that, to more and more temptation as a line of very attractive PIs sashay past me, glancing coquettishly in my direction. I can resist everything except temptation. I oscillate wildly. How can anyone see what is being brought to the table by the likes of Wesley, Campervans, LogicFull, Ruby MZA, Ishfaq Parali, and various other big names, and not have your head turned, even slightly, by the prospect of having these bright and knowledgeable people work for you? So many really good PIs. I can see why many copy traders have a whole load of them. But more is not always the answer. Although he was the best 007, IMHO. So what is optimal? When is diversification diversification? Who among the early visitors to the Copytraders Clubhouse has said what about the best number of PIs? No one has recommended having loads, except Victor Zhang. And he says he concentrates on a small number at the top of his league structure. All the PIs I have asked suggested a small number so you don't overdo it. Diversification, it seems, when applied to copy trading, mostly means among asset classes, perhaps among markets, and have at least a few PIs. It doesn't mean treat each PI like a stock and therefore have 20 to 30. 30 PIs with 30 positions each means you have 900 open positions. What's the point of copy trading talented PIs in an effort to beat the market when you own such a vast range of tiny positions? I wonder, as an aside, has raising the minimum copy amount had the ancillary effect of reducing the length of many copy traders' PI lists, since they simply cannot afford to have so many? That might be a serendipitous consequence, a blessing in disguise. Despite being miffed that their choices are limited, this might in fact work in the average copy trader's favour in terms of results. Having loads of PIs dilutes what they can individually achieve for you as well. The best ideas of the best PIs end up having a negligible effect on your portfolio. It's like employing all these amazing performers in your business, but there effectively isn't enough work to go around. This results in Wesley ending up in pink rubber gloves scrubbing the toilets, and Campervans being bored out of his mind as photocopier-in-chief. What a waste of their amazing talents, diluted by an imbalance between the job that needs doing and the number of people enlisted to do it. So I'm trying to resist the temptation to simply see a great PI and think that their greatness is sufficient reason to want to employ them. There has to be a job opening first in order for someone to fill it. That will only happen if I decide there's space for another, or it's time for an upgrade and I'm replacing a PI with another who can fulfill a similar role in the team. Getting back to the YouTube videos and mixing them into one of these many jumbled metaphors or analogies, there are lots of PIs out there who have the talent and abilities to be top performers, but seem to me to be reticent to market themselves energetically. The likes of Robert Merck, Wesley, Ruby MZA, Jane Emesis, and MJ Lux. These people are all essentially business people running their PI project as a business, with two main goals: portfolio performance and copier assets under management. Those must be the two ultimate goals of a PI, and those who attack these two goals with everything in their arsenal, including putting themselves out there through their own videos and appearances and live streams, have a much better chance of achieving them. The last sentence was a rarity that included both the term two goals and arsenal in the same sentence. And I am gonna leave it there for today. Coming up in the next episode is a guy who has been making money in the stock market for decades, retired at 42, and whose methods are now available to be copied on eToro. We discover what he has learned over the years.
My whole strategy has evolved, basically. It's literally the process of evolution where I keep doing what works and I stop doing what doesn't work, and eventually I've ended up where I am.
Thanks for listening. Until next time we meet at Copytraders Club, I wish you many happy returns. Obviously, anything you hear in this podcast is for entertainment only, not financial advice. Do your own research. This is just generic chit-chat. We don't know your individual circumstances, etc., and so forth.